It was meant to be a simple adventure for inseparable friends, Mike, Andy, Candace, and Joe, piling into their battered old van, chasing one last memory before adulthood pulled them apart. The laughter faded as the hours dragged on. Roads thinned into cracked veins of forgotten asphalt. The GPS sputtered, then died with a soft whimper. Cell signals vanished like smoke. They joked about it at first, how horror movies always started this way. Nervous laughs, white-knuckled smiles. They didn't realize they had already crossed a boundary, not marked on any map, into a place even memory had abandoned. When the van finally choked and died on a dirt road with no name, the only sounds were the ticking of the overheated engine and the distant rumble of thunder. The air smelled of iron and rain. Darkness bled down from the treetops. Around a tiny, struggling fire, they huddled, and every shadow beyond the trees moved as if breathing, watching. Andy froze mid-sentence. "Did you see that?" he whispered, voice tight with something worse than fear. They turned, flashlights stabbing into the mist, but found nothing but gnarled trees and shifting fog. Then the shriek tore through the night. Not human, not animal, a broken thing that clawed at their minds. Mike was yanked backward so fast he barely had time to scream. One bloodied shoe lay spinning on the ground. They ran, crashing through the undergrowth, flashlights jittering wild, illuminating flashes of old, half-buried gravestones and twisted, bone-like roots. Joe screamed once, then was gone, snatched by invisible hands that left claw marks in the dirt. Candace turned, just for a moment, and in that moment, she saw it, a hand, not quite human, pulling Joe into the earth itself. The woods twisted as they ran, paths folded into each other like broken ribs. Trees shifted when they weren't looking. The mist carried whispers now, their own names, spoken with too many teeth. From the fog, something emerged, a thing half-formed from bone, smoke, and pure, wet hatred. Hollow eyes wept black blood. Its jaw hung slack, twitching as if trying to remember how to smile. Andy, wild with terror, snatched up a branch and screamed for Candace to run. She hesitated. 1 second beat, but another piercing shriek ripped through the mist, setting her legs into motion. 2-second heavy sprint sounds. As she fled, she glanced back, just once, and saw Andy swallowed by a tide of writhing shadows, his scream crushed into choking silence. 3 seconds slow motion effect, Andy's scream fades out. Now alone, Candace stumbled through endless white, mist curling around her ankles, whispering promises of warmth if she'd only stop running. 2-second whisper effect, louder. Shapes flitted at the edges of her vision. Footsteps behind her, too close, too soft. 1 second beat, turning head quickly. Then, Mike's face, smiling, floating in the mist. Then Andy. Then Joe. 1 second pause between each face reveal, heartbeat sound. They beckoned to her with twitching fingers, but their eyes were wrong, black, hollow, starving. 2-second terror freeze, Candace realizing, no matter how far she ran, something followed, not walking, not running, drifting, always just beyond her reach. 2-second heavy breathing sound, heart racing. When Candace finally found the van, it was no salvation. It was rotted, windows shattered, vines strangling the metal, the steering wheel slick with mold, as if it had been abandoned for decades. 2-second stare at van, disbelief, and from the corner of her eye, she saw them, not one creature, but two. The first, a hunter, the second, a guide. Both wore her friends' faces. Both smiled with the patience of graves. She crawled beneath the dashboard, biting her hand to keep silent as shadows gathered around the broken glass, whispering her name in a chorus of sickly sweet voices. They scraped claws down the doors. They sang songs she had heard in her childhood, lullabies twisted and rotting with age. Morning never truly came. Instead, the sickly golden light seeped through the mist. Birds chirped, off-key, wrong, as if imitating life. The mist never lifted. The cold fingers never left her skin. Hours, or years, later, a rusty old ranger truck rumbled down the trail. An old man leaned out, calling her name in a voice she recognized but couldn't place. Candace staggered toward him, relief drowning her suspicion, but as she reached him, the sunlight caught his glasses, and she saw it. Just for a second, black, hollow eyes, endless, empty, devouring. She didn't scream, she didn't run, she simply smiled and let herself be led away. Behind her, deep within the trees, hundreds of hollow-eyed watchers shifted silently in the mist, waiting for the next lost souls to wander too far, chasing memories they would never escape.